Materialists was written and directed by Celine, who brought you Past Lives a couple of years ago, which was supremely well received. And it stars a really great trio here. You got Dakota Johnson, formerly Madam Web, Chris Evans, of course, Steve Rogers, Captain America, and Pedro Pascal, who's just about to be Mr. Fantastic. Is this a Marvel love triangle we're seeing here? I mean, sort of. Dakota Johnson plays a young New York City matchmaker named Lucy, whose lucrative business gets complicated as she finds herself torn between the perfect match, played by Pedro Pascal, and her imperfect ex, played by Chris Evans. Now, I feel like I should put this out in the open for you right off the bat. I feel like the marketing might be lying to you guys. Because if you look at the trailer, you would assume that Materialists is some big romantic comedy. Comedy ain't what this is. So get that idea out of your head right now if you're going to go into Materialists and enjoy it. Because I'll be honest, I didn't really see a single trailer. I just saw the poster and I thought it looked, oh, okay, there's 3 stars here. A24 is producing this thing. And Celine, we know what she can do with a script and as a director. So I was just sold on those merits. And Materialists, I thought was excellent. I think this is definitely one of the top movies of the year. And it's probably going to be once it's all said and done. Because I think what she does as a director and as a writer, once again, as she proves with Past Lives, she is making some very real choices with these characters. All 3 of your leads here feel like real people. And even though you clearly have a protagonist in Dakota Johnson, it just feels like you're almost watching a slice of real life. And you can find yourself relating to parts of each of these 3 leads. But at the same time, they're also human beings. They are heavily flawed. Now, one of my supervisors at my old day job, this is a shout out to Mark, by the way, he told me at one point or another, he described marriage as like a business transaction. Or not so much a transaction, that's the wrong word, a contract. That's what he described it as. And Materialists approach the idea of marriage the same way. Dakota Johnson is a matchmaker who's trying to make a deal happen. And maintaining the relationship and dating is the hard part. Love is easy. And that's the crux of what this movie is all about. And I think it's really beautiful how they handle it. It honestly reminds me a lot of As Good as It Gets, starring Jack Nicholson. Just in the formulation of this dialogue and how these characters are represented and just how real everything feels. Which I get it. As Good as It Gets may be a masterpiece for a lot of you guys. So comparing Materialists to that masterclass seems like a heavy compliment. But I think if you really liked that movie, you're going to love Materialists. Now, I'm somebody who's been championing Dakota Johnson for a long time. I've been rooting for her to turn her career around ever since the debacle that was the 50 Shades trilogy. And it just feels like her career has been very interesting and very topsy-turvy ever since you met her in 50 Shades. Because it feels like for every 50 Shades movie, there's a Peanut Butter Falcon that comes along, and she is marvelous in that. And then you get Madam Web from last year, and we all know how that panned out. And for every Madam Web, turns out there's a Materialist waiting on the other side. And Dakota Johnson, I feel like this might very well be her best performance here. I'm serious. She was so good in this. And a lot of her dialogue and how she delivers it, I don't know if she was studying her insurance agent or what, but that's what a lot of her delivery felt like. And I don't know if I can speak for myself, but that especially felt incredibly real. And the monologues that she has when she's telling all of her clients about their prospects, it all feels very genuine. And speaking of genuine, you want to talk about Chris Evans for a second? Man, this might be, I'm not even you, might be the best I've ever seen this man act. And he's playing a struggling artist living in New York City who's in a play every now and again. And he's just trying to make ends meet. And you definitely feel like there's a lot that you can relate to with this guy. Because even though he's down in the dumps, at least he's got love. And man, just his performance in general, this might be a long shot. I might be going out on a limb saying this. Robert Downey Jr. won Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars for his performance in Oppenheimer. If Iron Man can do it, maybe it's Cap's turn. And now you also have Pedro Pascal in this movie, and it feels like he's in everything. So seeing as how Pedro Pascal is in everything these days, you shouldn't expect him to be in as much of the movie as you'd probably want him to be. But it's a very good arc that he has and a very good chemistry that he shares with Dakota Johnson. Same thing with Chris Evans. Very good chemistry with Dakota Johnson as well. And I'm not going to get into spoilers or anything, but I feel like how Pedro Pascal's character pans out and where each of these characters ends up It's very sweet. And again, do not want to spoil a damn thing for you guys because I want you guys to go in. Don't go and seek out the trailer because it's probably just going to get your hopes up that this is another rom-com. It definitely has comedic elements, but comedy is not what this is at the forefront. It definitely feels more dramatic, especially with some of the more chaotic and traumatizing stuff that happens to some of our supporting characters. But again, I feel like that's what makes Materialists feel so realistic. And it feels like you're just watching a slice of life. And oh my God, just the direction, the cinematography, the long takes that we get really puts these performances in the spotlight. Celine Song has done it again, and I can't wait to see what else she does. And just about everything technical that this movie tried to do is just so astounding. She also has the same cinematographer she worked with on Past Lives, and the shot composition is so gorgeous as well. The composer of the music in this movie is the same guy who did the Into the Spider-Verse movies. Talk about a dream team. And what they put together in A24, everybody should be incredibly proud of Materialists. I think this is definitely one of the strongest movies I've seen this year. I will admit, it's not going to be for everybody. So if you don't like romance movies, anything of that sort, you're probably going to think this is very cheesy, very sappy, very soap opera heavy. And I get it might not be for everybody. But this guy who just loves all things movies thought that this was just an incredible feature presentation. The pacing never really felt like it slowed down. I never really looked at my phone. I was always constantly interested in what these characters were doing. I do have one minor gripe with this movie. There's a metaphor that the movie kind of shows you at the very beginning, and you don't even necessarily understand how that metaphor plays out until maybe the last 5 minutes or so. So in all honesty, like that metaphor just, as the movie went on, I kept going back to it and I was like, that just feels so random. Until the last 5 minutes when it's explained, oh yeah, I had a dream about this. Cool. I guess that explains it. But yeah, other than that, I mean, that's the only real gripe I can think of with this film. I can't recommend Materialists enough. This movie was excellent. 3 great leading performances, phenomenal direction, good romance here. What's not to like? I'm going to give Materialists an A. And yeah, this might feel like the highest grade I've given a movie in quite some time. Call me jaded all you want. Call me a cynic. Call me somebody who doesn't like movies anymore, but I really like good movies, and Materialist is one of them. And I can't recommend it enough. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Tap on the thumbs up button as well. Go see Materialist in the theaters right now. If you have money in your wallet to spend, you give it to this movie for sure. Thank you guys so much again for your continued support of the channel. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.